On the night time stopped, Mira was the only one who noticed. The town clock struck midnight with its usual gentle chime, echoing over rooftops dusted in silver moonlight. Candles flickered in windows. A cat leapt between barrels in the alley. A baker yawned as he carried a tray of bread to cool. Then, the second chime never came. The candle flames froze mid-flicker. The cat hung in the air, paws outstretched. The baker stood still as a statue. A single crumb suspended beside his sleeve. Only Mira moved. She stood in her small attic bedroom above her late father's clock shop, her hand resting on the wooden frame of an unfinished clock taller than she was. Its face had no numbers, only a circle of tiny carved stars. Inside, gears turned with a soft, nervous ticking that did not match any rhythm she had ever heard. Tick, 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 pause, tick. It had been making that strange sound every night since her father passed away in the spring. He had been the town clockmaker, the keeper of hours, the mender of minutes. And this clock, this beautiful, incomplete mystery, had been his last project. Mira had never dared to wind it. But tonight, as the world held its breath, the ticking grew louder. She crept to the window and looked out over the frozen town square. A ribbon of water from the fountain arched like glass. Pigeons hovered like gray clouds that had forgotten how to fall. "Hello?" she whispered. Her voice, the only moving thing in the world. The ticking answered. She turned back to the unfinished clock. A small door at its base, one she had never noticed before, stood slightly open. Warm golden light spilled from the crack, flickering like nervous fireflies. Mira knelt and pulled the door wider. Inside was not a pendulum, nor gears, nor springs. Inside was a staircase, spiraling down into a glowing space far larger than the clock could possibly hold. Her heart pounded, but her feet moved anyway. Mira stepped inside. The air smelled like rain and old paper. The staircase opened into a vast chamber filled with floating shapes made of light. Circles, spirals, glittering lines that drifted like lazy fish in a golden sea. Some were bright and steady. Others flickered anxiously. In the center hovered a small, glowing figure. No bigger than a teacup, it looked like a tiny comet with wide, shimmering eyes and a trailing tail of sparks. When it saw Mira, it darted behind a cluster of dim shapes. "Wait," Mira said gently. "I won't hurt you." The little light peeked out, trembling. Around them, the other shapes began to slow. Their glow faded from gold to pale gray. "What is this place?" Mira asked. The tiny comet drifted closer, its voice a soft, chiming sound inside her mind. "The place where time breathes." Mira blinked. "Time breathes?" The comet nodded. "We are the hours. Each of us keeps the world turning, but one hour ran away." Mira looked around at the fading lights. "Which one?" The comet drooped. "Me." Mira stared. "You stopped time?" "I didn't mean to," the little hour said, sparks sputtering like tears. "I was tired of being pushed, pulled, told when to begin and when to end. Humans pack me too tight. They rush through me. They waste me. I wanted to see what would happen if I just stopped." Mira thought of her father, bent over his workbench late into the night, whispering apologies to the clocks he repaired. He used to say hours were living things that deserved respect. "Now the other hours are fading," she said softly. The little hour nodded. "Without me, the circle is broken. Soon, everything will be still forever." Mira swallowed. "Then we have to put you back." The hour flickered wildly. "I can't. If I go back, they'll trap me again. Inside bells, inside schedules, inside rushing hearts." Mira stepped closer. "What if you weren't trapped?" The hour hesitated. "My father made this clock," Mira said. "He always said time shouldn't be chased. It should be noticed." Maybe he built this for you. Not a cage, a home. The hour drifted uncertainly. Homes don't have hands that point and numbers that order. This clock doesn't, Mira said. Just stars. The chamber gave a shudder. Several lights winked out entirely, leaving dim shadows behind. We're running out of moments, Mira whispered. The hour trembled, then zipped away. If you want me back, you'll have to catch me. It shot through the chamber wall, which rippled like water. Mira lunged after it and stumbled into the frozen town square. Only now, she could move through it like a ghost through a painting. She ran past the silent baker, through the still fountain, chasing the streak of golden light weaving between motionless people. The hour darted into a bakery window. Mira followed. Inside, flour hung like mist in the air. The hour circled a little girl, frozen mid-laugh, as her mother lifted her onto the counter. They never see me, the hour said, hovering near them. They're always thinking about the next hour. Mira watched the girl's joyful face. But this moment matters, she said. You're the reason she gets to remember this forever. The hour wavered, then zipped away again. It led Mira through the library, where pages were caught mid-turn, across a bridge where a boy was frozen tossing crumbs to birds, into her own attic, where moonlight painted her empty bed. Finally, the hour slowed above her father's workbench. Tools lay neatly arranged. A note she had been too sad to read still rested beside the unfinished clock face. The hour drifted down and touched the paper. The ink shimmered, becoming fresh and dark. Mira stepped closer and read, "For the one who listens to ticking hearts. If you are reading this, time has stumbled. I always knew 1 hour would try to run. They are the gentlest of the hours and the most misunderstood. Do not force it back. Show it why it matters." Mira's throat tightened. He knew, she whispered. The hour floated beside her. He could hear us, it said softly. He never rushed. Mira smiled through tears. He listened. She turned to the hour. You're not meant to be squeezed or wasted. You're meant to be lived, laughed in, rested in, shared. The hour's glow warmed, growing steadier. If I go back, will they notice me? I will, Mira said, and I'll remind them. The hour drifted toward the tall, unfinished clock. Its wooden door stood open, light spilling like sunrise. Not a cage? It asked.
Not a cage, Mira promised. A place to breathe. The hour slipped inside. Deep within the clock, something clicked. Not sharp and tight, but soft and certain. The carved stars on its face began to glow one by one. Far below, in the chamber of hours, the faded lights flared back to life. Outside, the world inhaled. The second chime rang. The candle flames flickered on. The cat landed with a surprised meow. The baker blinked and looked at the crumb on his sleeve as if it had appeared by magic. Mira stood in the shop, the clock now humming with a calm, steady rhythm that felt like a heartbeat at rest. In the days that followed, she finished her father's clock. She didn't add numbers. She didn't add hands that rushed in circles. She placed it in the town square with a simple plaque. This hour is a gift. People still hurried sometimes. They still worried about tomorrow, but every now and then someone would pause before the star-faced clock. They would take a slow breath. They would watch the gentle glow and remember that time was not something to chase, but something to hold kindly. And deep within the clock, the once lost hour shone brighter than them all. No longer afraid, finally seen.